It's in our Pledge of Allegiance. It's on our money. It's adorned on courthouses, government buildings, and schools. And it's screamed by imbeciles who think they're making a point about the United States being a Christian nation. We are one nation under God, and in God we trust. And this has been an official slogan of the United States ever since Jesus Christ himself descended from heaven in 1776 and signed the Declaration of Independence in his own blood, creating God's favorite country in the history of the universe. Or so you probably thought. Which is why it might surprise you to learn that most of your grandparents never said one nation under God when they said the Pledge of Allegiance as children. And that quarter your grandfather paid for a gallon of gas didn't say shit about the big guy upstairs either. In fact, the United States didn't even have a standardized Pledge of Allegiance until World War II. And when one was finally adopted, we were just pledging allegiance to one nation, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. But before we get into the under God bullshit, I do want to take a quick sidebar to talk about how the Pledge of Allegiance is the most American thing fucking ever. And not in a good way. The original pledge was written by a socialist, Francis Bellamy, in 1892. At that time, it lacked the flag of the United States of America portion because it was actually intended to be a pledge any country could use. The magazine Youth Companion, which sold American flags, published it on the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus, not knowing where the fuck he was. And they did this as a marketing ploy to sell American flags to schools. So to recap, a capitalist magazine lobbied schools to recite a socialist pledge to American flags they would have to buy from the capitalist magazine. On the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus thinking he'd found a shortcut to a completely different continent. This was a very successful marketing campaign that gained a lot of steam through the 20s and 30s, and by 1942, it was adopted as the official pledge of the United States of America. But it still lacked that shout out to the Magic Sky Daddy until 1954. It was the height of the Cold War, and communism was super scary. And to assert our moral superiority over the godless commies, groups started lobbying to have under God added to the pledge. And in 1954, Dwight Eisenhower agreed that it should be added and signed it into law. And even back in the good old patriotic God-fearing days, it was still super controversial both before and after the under God part. Got brought to court numerous times, both for being just weird fucking indoctrination and violating religious freedom. Anyway, following that, in 1956, Eisenhower decides to make "In God We Trust" the U.S.'s official motto, and we started printing it on our money in 1957. And the rest is recent history. So recent, I have tractors and trucks, even a goddamn refrigerator that has been around longer than under God has been in our pledge or in God We Trust has been on our money.